Okay, so let's talk today about the sentence element, or sometimes called clause element, adverbials. We've already talked, probably, if you've watched them, in other videos about the subject, the verb, the object, the complement. And this one, adverbials, is really interesting because adverbials can appear in all sorts of different places in a sentence. And you remember probably that that's what we call syntax. Where things happen or where things are put in a sentence is a really useful way to describe syntax. Syntax is really about sentence structure generally, but you can see sentence structure operating when you think about where things are. So it could be subject-verb adverbial, could be subject-verb object adverbial, or could even have the adverbial at the beginning. Let's have a look at this in a little more detail. So here is young Emma. She is 4 years old. She's talking to her mother, and she's talking about play and being in the school and the end of the school day and what she does. And Mum says, "Tell me some of the sports. What about after school?" And Emma says, "We play in the garden." Garden is what she says, where she pronounces the word garden. We do, because again, she's obviously got issues there with, and she's learning, if you like, to pronounce the g sound. We do on the trampoline. Why do we find this interesting from the point of view of what we're discussing here? Well, what would we be? Well, if you think about it from the point of view of some of the other videos you've watched, that, of course, is the subject of the sentence, the grammatical subject. Play, well, that's an easy one, isn't it? It's doing word. So that's got to be the verb. What is this thing here? We play. Where do we play? We play in the garden. In the garden is telling us something crucial in that clause, that part of the sentence, we play in the garden. It's doing something. Well, let's think about adverbs for a minute before we go to talk about adverbials. Adverbs, what do they do? Well, they answer a question that the listener or the reader might have in their mind. They will tell you often where something happens. They will often tell you when something happens. And probably most kind of traditionally for adverbs, they might tell you how something happens. So where, well, that would be an adverb, of course, of place, as in here. When, well, that would be an adverb of time, for example, today. And how, well, that would be an adverb of manner, such as quickly, slowly, yes, publicly, privately, and so on. So they answer that question. Well, adverbials are very like this, but an adverbial, bit of an ugly word, really, I think. But it's described. It's used. We use this adjective almost like a noun, adverbial, because it encompasses something quite large, which is this idea that you can have a whole phrase doing the job. Is this in the garden telling you where? Is it telling you when? Is it telling you how? Well, of course, it's telling you where the thing takes place. Actually, in is a preposition. The is a determiner. Garden is a noun. There are no adverbs in there at all. But it is telling you where the thing took place. Just like on the trampoline. So we play in the garden. We go on the trampoline. She's 4. She's just coming out of the telegraphic stage, probably into the post-telegraphic stage. She can use slightly longer sentences. She can use all these tiny little gluey words that often get overlooked, like in and the, and so on. But it's important to what she's trying to express to her mother is where the thing takes place. Notice, though, it takes place after the verb, which would be probably, particularly if you're talking about adverbials of place, it'd probably be the natural place to put it. You wouldn't say in the garden we play. That's probably in a poem. But talking of poems, let's look here at a literary text. And this is the opening of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. And actually, it's a bit of a cheat here for what we're trying to do, because we're looking at quite simple structures generally, aren't we? But this one is a 2-clause sentence. Last night I dreamt. And then we've missed out the word that, because it would be a mouthful if we were doing it. But that, I went to Manderley again. 2 clauses. What's interesting to me here, though, is this. Last night. Last night. What is that? Well, of course, it's an adverbial. It's an adverbial of time. And you have to ask yourself, why put it at the beginning of the sentence? Why not put it at the end of the sentence? I dreamt I went to Mandalay again last night. Incidentally, again is another adverbial. I don't know what that one would be, actually, sort of adverbial of frequency, isn't it? But she's saying, the writer here, she's saying that what's important to me is last night. It only just happened. And so sometimes putting an adverbial at the beginning of a sentence can have this slightly dramatic effect to wake up the reader, and then on we go. I'm sure you can think other things as you read the rest of this opening. That's all for now. Thank you.